variable, buyer incentive, seller contributions, and then these are all rental stuff. Rental commission description, referral minimum commission, maximum rental commission, referral commission amount, referral commission percentage. To facilitate this transaction, the MLS system will feature a clock down. I think a lot of you guys seen, you open the MLS, you see the clock clicking down. One thing they've done, that's okay. That's Jeff saying it, not Jeff the broker. By the way, a lot of things I say today is going to be Jeff, not Jeff Realty One, okay? Get that out of the way right now. If the sales contract is signed before July 31st, the buyer broker can still rely on the MLS offer of compensation even if it closes after this date. For contracts executed after the policy change, MLS offer of compensation will no longer be valid. We advise securing the compensation agreement in writing, either through a broker agreement or within the sales contract itself to avoid any misunderstanding. Additionally, the use of MLS data to create or support platforms for multiple brokerage compensations offers is strictly prohibited. So maybe that's what they were talking about, one of Joe right there. So you guys, again, there's so many moving parts right now, and honestly, the buyer's brokerage, the BBRA, is going to be mandatory, but we have no idea how it's going to be managed. If you don't get one, what happens? Are you going to get paid? I mean, so there's so many moving parts to this whole damn thing, guys. So honestly, I don't even know what, we've been talking about trying to teach this, and I know a couple officers already have, but and we're doing obviously the same. But just keep in mind, you guys, it is still very fluid and still moving. The biggest and most important thing today is if you work with buyers, how many people work with buyers? Okay, so about 50% or so. This is gonna make it difficult. I think, and I was talking to an agent earlier, that I think that this is it's as clear as mud. I think home ownership is going to go down. I think that anytime the government gets involved, they screw it up. And that's fact, right? Does anybody, do you remember real estate without the construction defects? Yep. Right? Yeah. And then all that happened, they took their money, they left, and then we deal with the garbage. And that's exactly what's going to happen here. So this buyer's mortgage agreement, which is right here, is a lot easier easier than the 3-page that I personally liked. So today we're just going to touch on a couple of things, but I highlighted some stuff, you guys, on these that hold real estate agents to quality. Boo! Boo! I don't want to hear that.
That's the real deal.
You guys, we better flat damn well get our shit together and start acting like professionals. We better start treating us like a business, right? My agents in my office know that I say this, there's no crying in real estate. Let's take the emotion out of it and do business. Okay. Starting from the answer the phone. That's what me and Joe were just talking about. Listing agents, I hate to say this, you're going to have to start answering your phone. Sorry. All right. From the top, this agreement is designed to allow a buyer to engage a qualified. I have mine highlighted. Qualified. What does that mean?
They are not wasting your time.
You wish, right? You know what you're talking about. You know what's going on in the business. You understand the forms.
Not completely.
Licensed professional. I highlighted that as well. Professional. I mean, guys, we've been skating around. Let's be honest, okay? And I'm not saying the people in this room, and I'm not saying people in this company, but we know there are realtors today that are skating on luck, right? They open the door, the kitchen's over there, there's a bedroom in the back. Let's write an offer. Well, I don't know how to write an offer. I was just talking to an agent today. They put an offer on had vacant land. They put it on an RPA, a residential purchase agreement. And then the guy says, when they said, hey, I don't know if you know this or not, but there's a vacant land of RPA. He goes, why don't we just make this one work? But there's not a home on it. Yeah, but we'll fish it out in the end. Welcome. Qualified, professional. Guys, If we don't police our own business, somebody else is gonna, and they're here. And it is not going away. Trust me, it is not going. I just read on Riz Media 2 seconds ago that they're filing a lawsuit against another company. You guys, the Department of Justice isn't going to go away on this. They're going to stay here. So, for the purpose of viewing properties and receiving contract negotiations and advocacy services throughout the entire real estate offer. Entire. Not some, not a little. Entire. You guys, I realize that if you think I'm talking down to you, I'm not. But you can tell my frustration from dealing with, and then, like I said, it's not a whole lot of us, but it's a lot of people that I deal with on the outside of this that have no idea the entire contract. Right? I mean, how many people put an offer in, and you never get the SRPD back until about 2 days before it closes? Right? Qualified professional. Right? And guys, when you're going to be reaching out to your buyer and saying, I want you to pay me $12,000, you better have them in line. Please.
Well, I was just gonna say that you waiting till 2 days before closing, then that goes back to whoever that agent is. They
Well,
are all over there.
I don't care about the dates. The dates mean nothing to me. I'm a buyer's agent. Who cares? Guys, this is reality. Okay, I mean, listen, speaking to you guys from being a broker for 12 or 15 years and being a real estate agent for 19. Okay, I see this shit every single day. Mind-blowing. Okay, and like I said, you can sense that I please don't think I'm coming down on you because I want you to know what the reality is because this is what's really going on in our business. Pond scum, used car salesmen, realtors. That's not Jeff. That's society. That's right. You guys, society believes that. Society believes we're overpaid. Right? I just talked about this the other day in my business meeting. Does anybody see realtors leaning against a Ferrari? Hey, I sold 18 homes last year. Right? Then wonder why we think we're overpaid. Okay, let's move on. Number 1, properties. The undersigned buyer engages the undersigned brokerage firm, remember, all monies come to the broker, to represent the buyer concerning buyer's purchase of the below selected real estate types S, situated in the following locations, geographic area. Any property introduced to the buyer, by broker, in the geographical area shall be referred to as the property. I like this part. I think it looks good. Residential, investment, commercial, vacant, custom build. What are you looking for out there? New homes, and then anything other. I like the applicable cities. City of Las Vegas, Henderson, wherever. I think it's a little bit better. I think that they made a difference. And then I like the geographical zip code, single, multifamily, whatever. Remember, please, Damon.
When I was at LBR, is anybody with LBR? Yeah. Okay, so, I'll try to chime in if it's okay.
Yeah, absolutely, Damon. You're smarter than I am,
Be
dude.
careful with that area. Don't be too specific. It's possible that you show a home doesn't meet the criteria that you put on that buyer brochure and you're getting paid.
That's a great point, Damon.
Now, could we, I got a question.
Please.
Could we put all cities in the state of Nevada?
Absolutely.
And I think if you do that,
Yeah,
it's pretty general.
I think that makes a great point.
Put all cities
Go.
in the state of Nevada.
Hold on one second.
Right?
Hold on, you
If you
guys.
sell up to Clark County.
So Wendy just said, could we put all cities, counties, whatever in Las Vegas?
Or in the state of Nevada.
Yeah.
Southern Nevada.
Could you leave it blank?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can it's optional. You don't have to fill it in.
That's what I'm saying. You could leave it blank if you wanted to, right?
Careful that you don't sabotage yourself. That's all.
Right. No, that's great. Yeah. Yeah. All of Clark County. Like I said, I like all of Nevada. Draw the Nevada map here. Everything there.
I was showing homes in Pahrump one time, and then they switched and went to Mesquite. So it's like, who would have thought? They're totally different areas. So
Right.
with that, I just put all of the cities in the state of Nevada.
I can tell you this: if they're going to Pahrump and then they switch to Mesquite, they're going to have somebody else who's going to represent them. I'm out.
Yeah, because I don't do Mesquite.
Right,
And that's what
right.
I'm saying is you just never
I'm
know.
done. I'm leaving. I'm going home. So I like that, Damon. I think that's great. So that's a great point, you guys. So be careful, I would think. Like I said, I mean, all of Clark County, You know, I mean, you gotta be careful, because what's our old adage, buyers are liars. I want a 2-story, they buy a single story, I don't want a pool, they get a pool, right, all that all the time. I want only in Henderson, and now they're Centennial, whatever. So I think that's a great idea, or leave it blank. Like Damon said, it's an optional deal. Or, you can check it, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
At the top part of it though, when it asks what type of property, can you mark multiple
Yes.
ones?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, guys, remember, the buyer broker is gonna be good as long as you guys agree. It could be one property, it could be 6 months, it could be 7 years, I mean, whatever you guys want. There's a spot, and we'll show on the very back, that they can get out of it. Anybody can get out of it in writing. You know, once you physically get it in writing, they can get out of this deal. Damon, do you know, because we have the cancellation of the old buyer's broker's agreement, will that still apply to this one, or is that gonna?
It's section 14 of this is gonna tell you,
Yeah, well, I've seen that already, but I didn't know if that, you could use that as well.
but they don't need it anymore.
Okay, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. Thank you for not putting me on the spot, though, I appreciate that.
Some people wonder why we need the form for section 14.
Well, that's it. Well, and that's what I read last night, guys, so this, like I said, it's easier, but it's a little bit tricky. All right,
No, section 14 says that you just send an email saying you're done.
yeah, yep.
Are in the back.
Yes, of course, yes.
It's an escrow course, that's a no-brainer. It's-
Okay. That's my gavel. Order in the court. All right, so I think that's great there, you guys. Or you could put the EAP in, or just the address. I honestly, I don't think I would use the address, because what if they don't buy the Banana Street house? Right, you put Banana Street on there, so I don't think I would do that one either. Again, I think, because we all had buyers that said, I want to buy in that neighborhood, at that place, and then they don't end up buying it there, like 90% of the time, right?
Now,
So that's why I would be cautious.
With that being said, in the 20 years I've been doing real estate, I've always used a buyer broker agreement. Now, I've only had one client that refused to sign it, and he was a pilot, she was a dentist, I think, or I don't even know what she was, but they just said no. So every single time I went out, I had to put in additional terms, the addresses I was showing. That's when I think that would be good.
Okay.
Is you would do it in that area for that specific address.
Right.
But then every time you take them out, make sure you do another one with the addresses that you're taking.
And see, Wendy's been amazing, because she's used the buyer's broker agreement forever.
Yeah, I've sold them 3 homes. Yeah. Mhm.
And see, guys, that's what, because I was always of the mindset, if they didn't want to sign it, I didn't really care, because at the end of the day, I don't care if you leave and go away, I don't care, I'm not that worried about it. But I think today, especially today, it's gonna be mandatory for one. But if, even in the last few years, when I've been really pounding, the agent said, the last probably 5 years, you really need to start using this. And now it's gonna be mandatory. Damon, did the division, or LVR talk about how it's gonna be mandatory, how are we gonna monitor
No,
this?
they don't know how there's gonna be policed yet, I mean, they don't know that it's gonna be policed, but you might start looking at code of ethics violations or something like that.
Right.
You running around out there showing problems about having it.
Right.
They're not, right now, they're not saying they're gonna make it, listing agent's not gonna confirm that you have it before you show, and that's been talked about.
Right.
As a listing agent, you're gonna make sure, because you can't even get a hold of the listing agent, so. It's not all of it, right, so right now, there's no police on it, you guys just wanna make sure that you have it signed, and that's gonna.
Yeah, you definitely want, like I say, guys, it's your own benefit, honestly, please.
That's probably the number one thing that's been coming out of this, is them saying that you have to have this, and you have to show the listing agent before they will provide access to show up.
Right.
No, I don't believe that.
So-
Yeah,
they change
no,
it.
I don't believe that to be the case either,
That was
no.
just somebody was saying that, but that's not.
I've seen it in writing, so that's good.
So, but if they ask for the buyer's broker agreement,
They
do we provide it to them?
They're not a party to your.
That's exactly right. Why do you have to show them anything? Yeah.
It's contract with your
Right.
client.
So if you write your contract saying,
And they
per
shouldn't
my
care, it's not
broker
it's not a
agreement,
violation on their part, the listing agent's not gonna do it.
That's right.
It's not gonna penalize them.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly right.
so when we write the contract, we say, per our buyer broker agreement,
Right.
we want 3% for seller to
Right.
pay. Do we show that? Do they?
Right.
do we-
But there's also a place in the RPA, the new RPA is in there, that you put that in.
Right.
And the seller will have to cancel that out.
You don't need to say per buyer broker agreement.
Right, yeah.
You just put it in the section, page 2.
Page 2, yeah. Because again, just like Damon said, you guys, keep in mind, the seller's not party to your deal, right? Whether you get paid or not, that's gonna be entirely the way you guys work it out. So that's the thing, it's gonna be up for, and I love that, Damon, because I think a lot of times we get people involved in our deals when they're not party to the contract. And I see that a lot. So I think that's a great idea, yes. But Wendy, that's good because I think if you, like you said, they wanted this specific and why not? But I would be careful if you're just going to do a blanket, hey, I'm going to show these people a home until they buy one. I would not put that kind of stuff in there. And I didn't even think about that, Damon, about if you put 89192, whatever the hell, what it is. Well, I bought an 89107, so I really don't have to pay you because you only said right here. Do you think people try to get out of it? Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. I think it'd be, I mean, at the end of the day, if you're sitting in front of a judge and, well, did you end up buying a house? Yeah, but it was in 89135, not 89129. But you still bought a house, right? Well, yeah, I don't think it'd hold water is my point. But let's don't challenge it, right? Let's do stuff to avoid sitting in front of somebody doing that.
Cross T's and dot I's, folks.
What's that?
Cross T's and dot I's.
That's it. And the one thing about a lot, especially if the judge knows real estate, I think it'd be hard pressed for them to say, well, they don't owe you something because of it, because you put 8-9. That's my thought. I'm not a judge or an attorney,
So if you have
nor do I play one on TV.
so if you have a Las Vegas applicable city,
Yeah.
it would cover any zip code.
That's what I would certainly think, yes. Clark County, like she was saying. I think Clark County would, because, it's obviously encompasses the most. But, yeah, what about Henderson? Is Henderson considered Clark County? Is it? Okay.
So is Laughlin, is Clark County.
Oh, really? So I think if you put Clark County, that might cover it, right.
So,
I would draw a map of Nevada, put a pin on it. Anywhere in this Nevada, I'm selling you property, okay? I don't care if it's Winnemucca, all right? I'm selling you property.
Initial on that map.
Yeah, absolutely. Circle it, sign. I think it's a great idea. Get stuff signed, please.
Is there a maximum time that they can sign this, or?
Whatever you want. You can do whatever you want, yep. Just remember, and we'll get to the back last page of it, anybody can get out of this deal in writing, which is kind of a good thing, yeah. Yeah, I think it's a good thing because I think there are days that you're sick of them and they're sick of you and you want out of the deal. So anybody can get out of it. All right, so let's go down to number 2, length of this agreement. Subsection 14. So if we go to 14, just for fun, cancellation. Either party may cancel this agreement, comma, effective upon delivery of written notice. Written notice is in your email. Doesn't have to be in writing, doesn't have to go to the brokerage. Your email will account for that. To the other party, unless buyer's under contract to purchase the property. Okay? So when you go back to number 2, this agreement begins the date last signed by buyer and broker and automatically ends on whatever that time frame is. Again, I'm going to do it for a week. I'm going to do it for a weekend. I mean, I wouldn't get into doing them for a weekend or something myself, but there might be buyers that say, listen, I'll do it for a weekend. If you want to do it this Saturday, I'll do it for that, but I'm not going to do it again. And you have to make a decision what you want to do right there. Right?
Now,
One of the things go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
No.
What I see a problem with this is that I've been showing them houses for the last 30 days,
Yep.
and then they decide to, let me go on Zillow, let me go here. Then they call the listing agent directly, and the listing agent says, hey, do you have a buyer broker agreement? Go ahead and cancel that,
Yep.
and then I'll do, and then
Yep.
so I've been working for 30
Yes.
days.
This line right here covers that. The line on the first page will cover that. We'll get to in just a second. It'll cover that. It takes care of that.
But is that just if they've
It gives you a certain amount of days.
But
You're jumping the gun on me. You're worse than the agents.
well, okay, but
Give me a minute.
Per the other one,
Yes.
if you've shown that
Yes,
property,
yes.
is that what this is?
Well, we'll touch on
Okay.
it. We'll touch on it. I promise.
All right.
We're going to go in order. We'll get to it.
They may change that section, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yay! All right. At 11:59 p.m. or upon the closing of the transaction, whichever is later, the term. Number 3,
Wait, question.
please.
I already foresee this having to be changed. Number 2,
Yeah.
because it says whichever is later.
Yeah.
So if my agreement's only till tomorrow.
Yes.
But you close on the transaction next week, according to this.
Yes.
I'm still representing
Yeah,
you.
but it says right here, unless under contract. That last page, 14.
No, what
Yeah.
I'm saying is,
Oh.
so I'm representing a buyer.
Yes.
Till tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay? and my agreement ends tomorrow.
Yes.
On
Yes.
this paper. But they close on the transaction.
2 months down the road or whatever.
This says,
Yeah.
I am representing them
Yeah.
until the date on this or the closing of the transaction,
Right.
whichever is later.
Later. Yeah.
Not which is
Yeah.
earliest.
By the way, I didn't write this. Okay.
So they're gonna-
But no, you make it make sense.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, you guys. This is going to change, and I know that I think they've even mentioned it's going to change again.
Yeah. it's-
So-
That has to change.
I don't disagree with you guys. I'm the messenger. I didn't create it. Damon probably helped, so yell at him. I'm not that smart. He is. Yes. Yes.
That actually protects.
Right, because it's later after it closes.
If you close the transaction before the expiration, you're fine.
Right.
If you don't close the transaction before that, then the closing's later, so you're fine.
Yeah. No, according to this, yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. I don't know they had an attorney get in there. I don't know if they did that. Yeah. Listen, guys, I've been reading it. I can poke holes in it as well. So, listen, we're going to have to deal with what we're going to deal with right now, right? At the end of the day, let's don't sign one for a day. Okay? Let's don't sign one for a day, is my opinion. Unless you don't like them and you want another deal.
Well, you guys might have to though. I mean,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We can.
Listen, who's a buyer? Yes, this is gonna be new to the public.
Yes.
Right, to the consumer. And it may take them, as we know, they may need to go through 3 agents to realize everybody's asking for this form. Right? You're gonna be the first. Right? Just like an expired listing, it's always gonna be the second agent, not the first. So make sure you do whatever you can to know that the buyer, the number one thing for me and our team is it's negotiable.
Yeah.
Everything is negotiable.
Right.
We're gonna send this over to the seller. If you wanna do it for this one copy, that's great. They are gonna probably bring a change order. I had some input down on Monday. That'll be ours. Hopefully the goal is that we have a change order that you can modify this agreement,
Right.
just like the listing agreement, to where if something, you sat back down with the buyer and said, hey, are we working together forever to find the home? Yes, okay, here's the change order, saying that any property that I show you, we're good. That's if you were to do one of the, one or two or additional properties
Right.
exclusive.
Right.
Right, so you won't be able to modify it, so don't get too caught up in the.
Right. Well, and the thing too, I will say this, you guys, it is going to change. We know that. But if all those dingbats down there, if Damon is on board with it, I'm on board with it because the guy's very smart. He knows what he's talking about. So if he's helping them, we're in a good place because he's going to make sure this kind of nonsense isn't here. But we got to deal with what we got to deal with right now. I was never a big buyer's agent per se. So for me, I didn't care about this because if they left, it didn't bother me one bit. But we got to live in reality right now. This is what we have. I think a lot of things are going to change, you guys. And I think we're at the tip of the iceberg right now. I think things are going to change more than we know, especially because from what I can see, and again, this is Jeff, not the broker manager, the DOJ is on us like, you know what, on what? Okay, they're not going to give up. And so we better get to reality. And so today, I think this is definitely going to, I know it's mandatory, and we want to make sure it's mandatory. And if I was going to sell it today, I would certainly know how to sell it, but I would also let everybody know, listen, if you go to 7 different agents, everyone's going to have the same thing, right? You're going to be required. Now, I know there are some offices that are creating their own form, one page or whatever. Jeff's opinion, not the managing broker, I think you're insane if you even think about doing that. With the Department of Justice, and you're going to create your own form, you're on drugs. You're asking to be sued. I would rather use this and say, listen, these dingbats down there are the ones who came up with it, not me, right? So there are offices going to have one page. So I don't think 1 page adequately covers it. That's why I like the 3-page was my favorite. So just kind of bear that in mind,
Who's
okay?
policing that the buyer's agents are having these signed?
Yeah.
I mean, there's some agents that probably haven't done a transaction, don't even know.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Who's policing?
That's right. You guys, everybody's independent contractors, and they're the ones should be responsible for making sure they're getting it. And that's why we're doing this kind of stuff, you guys. So keep you guys in the know. But guys, we have our own agents that I've gotten a call. Hey, I understand the form's changed. Really? No shit. Yeah. We've been talking about it for 3 months, so I don't know where you've been, but that's what we're doing.
If you're the listing agent, those ends.
Yeah. That's it. That's right. That's right.
Fiduciary responsibility as your seller.
Yeah.
Well, that's why you have to show your value and your worth as a buyer.
Correct.
Exactly.
Because
Yep.
don't think that, oh, you're going directly
Yep.
to the seller, that you're gonna get a smoking deal.
That's
No,
right.
they have fiduciary responsible.
Well, none of that, but guys, let's just say that you have a buyer and the buyer says, well, I don't want to use you, because I can't pay you 12 grand. I'm going to go right to the listing agent. And the listing agent says, well, okay, I can put an offer in for you. How are you going to pay me? Well, I can't. What do you think they're going to say? Go away, but don't go away mad. Right? Because who's going to take the liability? If I'm going to represent both sides and there's no compensation, right, I wouldn't do it. Especially today, and as Sue happy as we are in this, there ain't no way I would take that. So again, and Damon might be more versed on it, but what do we do in that situation? I'm not taking it.
You negotiate, folks.
Yeah.
That worked very well.
Yeah.
Become a master negotiator.
There you go. I like that. By the way, we will be doing the ABR class in the Northwest office, the 2-day class. It's free. We haven't got the exact date, but it'll be towards the end of August. It's free class to do. It's 2 8-hour days, and you will be, get the certification at the end of it. So that's there.
That's including
Okay.
the certification?
Pardon?
That's including the certification?
Yeah. I know. I think you got to pay that actual get the certificate, but it's minimal. Yeah. Pardon?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's get going. Number 3, broker fee. Buyer agrees to pay broker as provided below the broker fee for any properties involving the brokerage efforts under Section 5. The broker fee is not set by law or by any realtor association and is fully negotiated, which is they've always had that. The broker fee, well, let's go to 5 real quick and just see what that says. Number 5, and I got a bunch of stuff highlighted here. Broker's efforts. What is a broker's effort? Broker will exercise good faith. I've got that highlighted. Efforts. A, locate and present suitable properties to the buyer. Oh yeah, no brainer. I like that. B, tour and prepared a detailed analysis of specific properties per buyer's request.
RPR.
What does detailed analysis of specific properties mean? CMA? Right. Whatever that looks like. C, help buyer prepare, negotiate, and secure a contract to purchase 1 or more properties. D, cooperate with any real estate licensee working with the seller to facilitate and complete the buyer's purchase of their properties. That line D, real estate working with, cooperating with the other side, we better wake up to that one. That's one of the biggest battles that we have today is 2 agents cooperating with each other. More deals blow up because of the agents than it does buyers and sellers.
That's why you have to present it first.
Yeah. I like it. Try to do that. But guys, that's the biggest thing we see. So the thing I see about this buyer's market, in my opinion, we're leaning on the buyer's agent on both sides to give better service and quality and professionalism. And so I think that's a needed effort in what we're trying to do. Facilitate and complete the buyer's purchase. And E, perform other services as needed and requested by the buyer. So that's buyer there. All right. Under the broker fee, check those that apply. Damon, I want to check them all. I want to put 7%, $30,000, and towards. What do I do now?
One says no.
Probably only select 2 of them.
Only select 2 of them. All right, guys, I guess I was going to do all 3. So, now there's a section right here. Where did it go? I think it's on the next page. We'll get to it. So, what are we going to put here? 3%, 4%, 12%, $5,000, $8,000,
Whatever you agree upon.
whatever you and your buyers agree upon, right?
The most
Out
you
for
can get.
future, in case they go to a new home and they offer a special deal.
Yep, because it says right here, we'll get to that page where it says you can, if you put 2%, excuse me, they offer 3, you can only accept 2. Does everybody understand that? So for me, I'm going to put 73% down there. Okay, so I know that I'm going to get it. My thoughts. I'm kidding about that more than anything, but that's going to be Damon. Please.
You might have a change order that addresses that, folks. Okay, so you have 3%, builder's offering a bonus. that would be the vehicle for that change order, where
Right.
you go to your buyer and say, hey, listen, the builder, I've done such an amazing job for you. Now remember, this is really the buyer's money per se.
Right.
Right, because they're obligated to pay that commission.
Right.
So that bonus, depends on your buyer. I just had this conversation with the agent yesterday. Depends on the buyer. They might say yes. They go, Damon, for sure, I'll sign a change order saying you're gonna get that $1,000 bonus, or $500. Or the buyer might look at you and say, hey, listen, how does that money come to me?
Right.
Where's that bonus? How do I get that bonus money?
Right.
For my closing costs or something, so it's gonna be a conversation with your buyer.
Right.
So wait, so he's a change order for that?
Yeah, if you were doing, if you put 2 and they're gonna give you a bonus,
Bonus, you
yeah,
So that's why we
Yeah.
should just put it higher.
that's what I would recommend, and they, like I said, David might have a different opinion. I would think like 3% is what I would be putting.
I put 4.
Right. She put 4, I like it.
Question is not a change order. You guys can do another buyer brokerage agreement, okay? You can eke up another buyer brokerage representation agreement if you wanted to address that bonus as well. The main thing of that is that you're just gonna have a conversation with your buyer to say, hey, they're paying a bonus, are you okay with that bonus? Here, good, let's get another buyer brokerage.
So would you, so if I said I'm gonna do work for 2% and they're gonna pay 3, we're calling that a bonus?
No, that's just a condition that you're not.
So what bonus are you talking about? Where,
New home.
oh, a new home, okay, gotcha. Right, okay,
In that scenario, just like you said, if they're offering 3, you only put 2 on that, you're only getting 2.
right.
Okay, unless again,
Can you negotiate that? I mean, could you
So I-
change order?
as of today, no.
Okay,
As of today, no. So you guys make sure you put whatever commission you want on this buyer broker representation agreement. You can always come to instruction, which is, can we modify the DOJ, and not just the DOJ, folks, there's advocacy groups out there that wanna see us off the planet.
yes,
Okay, and they do not like realtors, they want attorneys to facilitate transactions, and that's what we're dealing with right now in this
Yeah.
world, okay? With that, they don't want anything slippery on these agreements, so
Right.
if you put 3%, you're getting 3%. If somebody's paying more than 3%, and you have 3% on there, you're not getting it.
we're getting it.
Okay, until further
And,
instruction.
and right now, there's no change order, there's no vehicle.
Today, they're working on it, just as they're working on, and you guys, I will tell you right now, we need these forms like right now today, because if you're out showing homes and the co-op's gone on the 31st, and you don't have this new agreement and the new RPA, you're good luck.
a lot going
Right.
Right?
Yeah, yeah,
I
wow,
talked
wow,
to Mark as well about, we need to answer what we're doing with our current listings. We need to either have instruction to go to our sellers with a change order.
Yeah.
And change that co-op,
right,
right, and say, hey, there's no longer a co-op on
Right.
the 31st. And so that's
Now-
for Mark too, he said he's gonna call Pat. But
Damon.
Oh,
I
fuck.
actually ran into a listing yesterday by Open Door, and the co-op said 0. So I called the agent, and Open Door agent takes hours before they respond. But she did, and they said, oh, they do not co-op with agents any longer, but they will give 1.67% seller's compensation. That seller can use that to pay your commission
Yep.
or towards the closing costs.
or towards closing.
Yeah, or towards the closing costs.
So what do you need to do?
What
Hang on, you guys, hang on.
Hey guys, this is important, you guys,
So what
you
I
guys are gonna
did-
lose money right now.
What I did is I write up an offer, and in the additional terms, I put seller to compensate the buyer's agent
Agent.
3% of the compensation from the purchase price.
What if they counter you back?
I haven't heard from them.
Right, and that was, they said 176, right?
So it was the same open
Right.
door offer, I just,
Wow.
and then I reached out to
Interesting.
the agent and I
Have your
told
buyer
her
make the difference.
what I submitted.
Yeah, well, that's the guys, that's gonna be it right there.
Yeah, one more thing. I did a buyer's broker agreement I did a buyer broker's agreement last week, and I had the same concern about 3%, 4%. And I went to Mark, and Mark advised me that I should put like 3% on the first page.
Right.
Up to 3%.
Yep.
And then, in the additional terms, he asked me to put the buyer's agent agrees to accept whatever compensation the seller is offering at a minimum of 2%. Because that's what I'm willing to take with that buyer is 2%.
Right.
But
Without the buyer paying you anything.
Exactly.
You're willing to
So
take that.
If that open door is paying 1.67%.
He'll pay the-
will be
24% or whatever, 0.24, okay.
Now, I do have a question for David.
Yeah. Hang on, he's been, go.
So two questions on this also. So if you sign this agreement for 2% and it's offering, the seller's offering 3%,
Yep.
seller side.
Yep.
And you're saying you can't, then you only get the 2%.
Yeah.
But could you rewrite one of these for that specific address for the 3%?
I'm surely say you could cancel it, this one, and write another one.
But that's my,
Yeah, I think you're, right, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
but that's my question.
The buyer's willing to give you that money.
And the opposite, right? If I put this for 3%, and I go to a home that is only gonna pay 2%.
Yep.
And my buyer's not interested to pay
Yep.
me that extra
Yep.
percent, then I can rewrite for that specific address at 2%. If that deal goes through. If it doesn't, then it's only for that address.
Right, that's where you can put the APN
But
in.
didn't you just say get rid of the PPR?
No, you have to cancel one. You would cancel the one at 2, write a new one for 3.
But so now, that's my question on that. What about the dates on these? Like, because I'm showing them a property with this signed
Right.
a month ago, and now all of a sudden I'm showing them property, we cancel it, then I start back over it, like,
I don't.
is it gonna be a problem? So, but the change order is fine. A change order.
I don't know, I would think canceling it and writing a new one, who cares? Yeah, that's what I would think, I would cancel the damn thing. Okay.
Yeah, but then like the dates now, it's like a new one.
Real quick, this is important as we're talking about this, okay? You gotta use common sense. The buyer brokerage agreement that you have right now that you canceled, right?
Yep.
And you're gonna sign a new one.
Yes.
Okay? You already showed a home. On that new, so you already possibly violated the agreement, right? That you
That's
have to
what
have
I'm
a buyer
saying,
brokerage
yeah.
agreement
Right.
Before you show the home, because the one that you have in place is the one that you signed.
Right.
In order to show a home or homes. Okay, so that's, the change order really is the vehicle.
So we need that change order. That's what
Right,
I'm saying.
Can you, now hold on. Let's-
Yes, I was gonna say.
Can we cross off and have initial the buyer brokerage agreement, those specific terms? Yes, you can. So before we go and cancel one and write a new one, you might, if we don't have that vehicle, you may go in and cross off, have your buyer initial, sign, stamp,
Date.
whatever, and have, and use that as a vehicle instead.
Ay, ay, ay. Ay, 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 my God.
Right, even though this is required, we all know that there are gonna be agents who are gonna be so
Oh, yeah.
scared of even
Oh, yeah.
bringing up the word.
Well, because there's a lot of guys that aren't doing this stuff right here, and that's why this is an open forum. Let's talk about this, because at the end of the day, we're all in this together. And we want to make sure we're doing the right thing. Are we going to screw things up? Absolutely, especially because shit's going to change. Right? We're going to change right in the middle of us. And we don't know. I mean, I honestly, how do I say this, Jim? I think it's weird that we had a form that we've already agreed we're going to change. Right? That's my thinking, please.
So I went to the forums meeting yesterday, and they were just saying that you have to be really careful if you're gonna be changing these broker agreements, because they said if it is brought before the Department of Justice, they're gonna ask you, well, when you showed that house, it was XYZ bananas, but now you changed it and you've added a percent. What did you do different that provides the buyer better service, that you've earned that extra?
I would ask that question.
You know, that you would earn that extra.
Right.
So you have to be really careful as we navigate this. I know we really don't know, it's fluid.
Wow.
But you just have to remember, it's a buyer's advocacy, supposedly.
Yeah.
You know, so when you're
Which I hate that
making-
term, by the
whenever
way.
you're writing in these, you know, they were suggesting don't add additional, be careful if you're gonna add additional terms, because you will be the example, you know, if you make a mistake and it's brought forward. So you just have to really think about that and be careful. We're not attorneys, so go to your broker before you do anything and ask. I know you don't know, but at least, you know, you're getting some kind of confirmation. And
yeah.
you're just not writing crazy stuff or
Right.
doing crazy stuff. Because
Which we see.
they are, like he said, having watchdogs. So I would really think about, you know, just sell your worth. What my understanding was, you can go down in compensation, you just can't go up.
Yes,
Right.
correct.
That's what I was gonna suggest,
Yes.
maybe you can put 5% on the
Right,
first page.
right.
Whatever
Have
you
that
feel your
disclaimer
value
on the
is
back.
worth, you put it
Exactly.
on there.
73%.
That won't freak a buyer out.
Yeah, yeah. Heidi, you had a question. Hang on.
I also went to one of those board meetings, and they were very
being able to collect any bonuses from a builder. But
Right.
you're saying you can if you use a change order. Am I
Honestly,
understanding that?
I will tell you this, they don't have clarity
Okay.
on that at this point in time, to be very transparent with you guys, okay? You're gonna have some people, like a Jeffrey Lavelle that was down there, that's very by the book,
Right.
and says, you put 3%, that's all you're getting. There's others that would say, listen, if the seller, how is the DOJ or anybody controlling, if the seller wants to pay somebody a commission, why are they involved in telling us that there's actually a lawsuit going on with that right now?
Yeah.
In another place, but with that,
Yeah.
I'm not the end all be all, Jeff's not the end all be all.
Right.
You guys wanna fly very close, you'll love what, you just said, young lady, you gotta fly very close to, what's being put in front of us.
Right.
And if you are gonna do anything outside the box, go talk to a Jeff, a Mark,
yeah,
a
Mark.
Tim, or somebody and say, listen,
Tim.
this is going to, this is gonna raise a red flag. What the conversation we were talking about, the seller's offering a bonus.
Right.
Right, you didn't induce that bonus, they just offered it, you'll have the buyer accept that you're gonna receive that bonus. From what I've seen and heard, yes.
Right.
Okay?
Well, because most time the bonus isn't judged on, you did a better job. The bonus is, you're showing my
What
property.
Shirley's talking about
Right.
is, hey, I'm gonna charge you extra, I'm gonna collect extra on this,
Right.
and I did these additional things, I went to I stood on the corner with the sign and.
Right. I brought a taco truck in, a mermaid swimming in the pool.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, yeah. That's
We're
right.
lucky to get a commission.
I wouldn't do any of that, but if there's a seller saying, hey, listen, I'm paying this, right, then I believe there is a way, whether a change order, or
Right.
sitting down with buyers saying, hey, they're paying.
And again,
us. Are you
yeah.
okay with me accepting?
And again, you guys are gonna change, but I think at the end of the day, I think we should be putting, Jeff would put at least 3%.
Because it's negotiable down.
Yes.
Easier than up, right?
Yeah, exactly right,
So
exactly
let's
right.
start with 2%.
And what do you guys, and you, you guys, talk to you guys about it. I mean, do you think that sellers are gonna pay commissions today? The new, moving forward? I think so too. I don't think it's gonna be, will they pay 3% or 2%? I don't know.
No, but only if the listing agent presents it properly,
Right.
because no seller wants to pay more
Right.
than what they have to.
Right.
So they're gonna say, oh, no, hell, why am I gonna pay? Their buyer's gonna pay.
Right.
But the agent has to explain them the benefit of paying. the
That's right.
buyers.
Well, we have brokers right now in town that have been offering 0% for 6 months,
Yeah.
right? A year. So it's not unusual to see that.
How quickly are those processes?
Yeah. Well, that'd be a great question. That'd be a great question.
Never
If you wanna
answer
think outside the box, and in negotiations, a counter offer comes back to you, and they're only offering you 2% or 1.5%, whatever, then you go back with the counter ask for buyer concessions. For some sellers, it's just the principle of your commission.
Good
Okay,
point.
they might be okay paying the buyer's closing costs, and buyer's gonna absorb that additional commission to you, right? But it's your, hey, okay, I'll take the 1.5, buyer's asking for $5,000 towards closing costs. You guys gotta just.
Good job.
Yep, good one, Dan. Yeah, please.
What about, I don't know if anybody's talking about this yet, but, letter credits. In the mortgage industry.
Right.
When we price out a deal for a customer, it's either par, buy down, or it comes with a lender credit, right? So you partner up with a lender, and you tell them that price out originally at a par rate, right? But when we get to negotiation, if I need a point,
You can,
you do a lender credit of a point to offset the closing costs, because your commission is closing costs. Got it?
Can you say that again?
Now officially.
Yeah, so your lenders, you guys all have a relationship with the lender, right?
Yep.
Okay, so you sit down with your lender and you say, the way that you guys price this out, you price it out with either a buy down, a par rate, or lender credit. There's situations where you've had to have a buyer that need a lender credit, right?
Right.
Just offsets closing costs, same thing. You would ask for the lender to price it out originally at a par rate, right? But if you need that extra point, then you can go back to the lender and say, hey, price it out with the lender credit of a point or a point and a half. Because when we look at our rate sheets, your pricing will go all the way up to 2 points back to the consumer as a lender credit. So you always have that in your back pocket as well. You just gotta have a good relationship with your lender partner and make sure that you know, hey, this is how I want you to price out the deal with my clients and my referrals.
so let me make sure so you're saying is if they gave a lender a credit, then the buyer could actually pay you a commission? Is that what you mean?
Well, the way that it would reduce, so your commissions are considered closing costs,
Right.
right? So it reduces the closing costs by doing a lender credit.
Okay.
So if we give a higher rate of interest,
Okay,
by offering that letter of credit, it absorbs and it reduces their closing costs by that amount,
Yes.
which could give.
But lender
So
credit
that the buyer-
basically
Right.
then reducing their commission as well. So they
No,
don't
no,
have
no,
to
no,
have-
not at all, not at all. So we don't lose money, we don't get
No, the
paid.
lender
The
is
lender
not.
does not get paid based on the rate. That's one thing that you guys need to all understand. We don't get paid based on the rate that we sell the consumer. That's why it's a par rate, a buy down rate,
Right.
and a lender credit.
Right.
I get paid, the lenders get paid based on the loan amount. So it's all based on your commission set forth with your lender, your loan officer, your loan company. So it's like 1% of whatever your loan amount is. So if your loan amount is $400,000, I get paid $4,000 regardless of what rate I sell or what rate the consumer chooses.
all right. So you guys, as you can see, everybody's trying to figure out ways to do it, and we're all still trying to figure this thing out. So I think there's some great points here, please.
Clarify that credit goes back
To the buyer, right. Right, that's right. It goes back to the buyer, right. So instead of me giving 10, they're gonna absorb 10. Now I got only putting 5. I got 5 to go on the other side. Is what I think in a way like that, yeah. I am not a lender. Hey, so it's almost 3 o'clock. We haven't got to the first page yet. This is supposed to be an hour. Okay? All right. See, we'll be here till midnight.
No.
All right. So we kind of got it now. Again, guys, I would think, and you guys use your own discretion, I would think 3%. Wendy has 4%, whatever that looks like. Because just like David said, you can buy down, you can't buy back up. Okay? So the line underneath number 3, the broker fee is due and payable upon successful closing. If buyer enters into an agreement to purchase any property within blank days, 180, 30, 90, 60, following the expiration or early termination of this agreement, then the buyer shall pay the broker fee to the broker upon closing. The broker fee shall be in U.S. currency and paid at the time and as a condition of closing. This agreement shall act as escrow instructions for payment of the broker fee to the broker, period. This section 3 shall survive the expiration or early termination of this agreement, which was number 14, I believe. Yes. Okay?
What they
So,
can add to that, Jeff, is that, because right now, if you guys aren't reading that, or if you're reading that right, it says any property.
yes.
So my question is, okay, I have a contract that expires, buyer's out 180, I put 180 days there.
Right.
Buyer goes and buys another home, I'm still due a commission.
Yes.
That's a nightmare.
Yeah.
The buyer won't sign it.
Right, right.
They're not gonna agree to that. So it's probably gonna say that unless they've signed another valid brokerage agreement.
Right.
Just like our listing agreement says.
Right, and it kicks that one out.
Correct.
But should already been in there.
Should have been in
But,
in my opinion, so.
yes.
And also, it doesn't identify anything procuring cause, I've already shown them that, but.
Correct.
Yeah, yeah.
It says any.
Any, yes.
I
So
had
it
the same.
doesn't say if I showed
Yeah.
you this
Correct.
property with it.
Yeah, I had some
Yeah.
true concerns with that paragraph just
Yeah.
because it's very.
Trust me, I did the same thing when I read it. I'm like, that's a nightmare right there.
Yeah.
Get your attorney.
Can we go back to number
Please.
3 right here?
Oh.
So there's a percentage, there's a flat fee, but is this for like our transaction fee?
That's what I
When
figured.
we editing that to make it a little bit larger, I brought that up as well.
Perfect.
And say, please make this so because I was like.
Why are you heading it up? Why are you in the background going, change this, change that?
No time.
You need to kick them jackasses out of there and take it over, get it done.
So they'll be modifying.
That was Jeff, not the managing broker, that was Jeff.
Broker transaction fee, folks. So you-
Okay.
Yes, yes,
Nice.
sorry.
Nice.
So you put whatever your fee
Yeah.
is there, you select the 3% of the flat fee plus that box.
But yes,
All
yes.
that apply.
Yeah, okay, good. Good. It'll go right there, in that box right there. Okay? All right, now we get into some of the disclosures, you guys. So let's kind of run through these again. If you guys have questions, let's address them. Number 4, disclosures. Buyer acknowledges receipt of the duties owed form. Explanation, I got that underlined and highlighted. Explanation of the duties of an agent in Nevada, whoever does that. So we got a couple of us. I like that Lee Barrett, and I don't know if Damon's on with this, I like that Lee Barrett would give the code of ethics to his buyer seller. I thought that was kind of a cool idea. I don't know you'd have to do it, but I thought it was cool. But explanation, right? The number one thing that the division gets agents on all the time is the duties owed. Did you use reasonable skill and care when you did a short sale? You've never done one before. probate, whatever that looks like. So that's it. B, buyer understands that depending upon the circumstance, it may be necessary or appropriate for the broker to act as a agent for both parties for such transaction. In the event, broker will see buyer's consent to act to brokers. I changed that representation of additional parties as soon as practicable and will obtain the written consent act. Guys, multiple representation, you do that, make sure you do that. The consent act. Buyer consents and acknowledges that the other potential buyers, which I like this part because they think they're the one working with you right now, and you're only showing Banana Street and you're waiting for them to buy it. You're not showing anybody else. So I like this one. Buyer consent and acknowledge that other potential buyers represented by the broker may consider making offers or acquiring interest in the same or similar property as the buyer. I love that. I think that's great. We talked about 5 already. Buyer's efforts. Broker will exercise good faith effort to A, locate and present suitable properties to the buyer, which we all do. Tour and prepare detailed analysis of specific properties per buyer's request. Okay, remember, make sure we're doing that. And guys, I would make sure you're giving them good analysis and specific for the properties. Give them the information. It's all out there. RPR, is that what it's called in our LVR?
Yes.
That is a cool. If you haven't doing it, you need to get that. That is way cool, and it gives you specific details of your buyer. I don't know if anybody's played with it. That is way cool, and you're paying for it, and it is way cool. It breaks down everything. Male to female, income, schools, you name it. It is way cool. That's what I would be giving them. Now, would I give it on every single property? Maybe not. I would give it to them because it's like 60 pages. So I would give them the smaller version. Pardon?
I said they have the condensed.
Yeah, that's what I said. Give them the condensed one. Help buyer prepare. Here's the key word. Negotiate and secure a contract to purchase one or more properties. D, cooperate with the real estate. The biggest one right there, cooperate with real estate of the seller to facilitate and complete the buyer's purchase of the property. And then E, perform other services as requested. Buyer's representation and duties. Buyer agrees to work exclusively. Highlighted. Notice how they're big letters. I would underline that and highlight it if I was working with a buyer. With broker and with not any other broker. Buyer agrees to furnish broker with all relevant data. How many buyers do we have that don't want to provide us with anything? I would underline that when I'm sitting with them and say, you need to get me stuff in a timely manner. And it even brings that up. Records, documents, and other information, including loan pre-approval letters and proof of funds to purchase upon request of broker and authorized broker to furnish copy to prospective sellers, landlords, auctioneers, or exchangers. C, buyer agrees to be available. I'd underline that because there's a lot of buyers today that don't want to cooperate, which is the craziest thing. Examine the properties and respond in a timely manner. I would underline that, which I did and highlighted. And to communicate from the broker. D, buyer agrees to act in good faith. There's another one. I might even go to the Google and say, give me the definition of good faith and hand it to them. To acquire the property and conduct any and all inspections, I highlighted that, of the property the buyer deems material and or important. E, important, very, very important this line. New home / lot sales. Some sellers, particularly new home subdivisions, open houses, and for sale by owners, will not compensate the broker unless broker makes the first visit with the buyer. Please make sure they understand that. And I would hand them a stack of cards. On Sunday when you're out and about, if you go into a property, please give them my card and let me know. They usually, a lot of them will, especially ones that we work with, Realty One, they will call you, hey, the Smiths are here. You might want to come down and sign them up. But there are ones that won't do that. Okay, and I won't mention any names, and I should usually do, but I won't this time. If buyer makes first visit without broker, buyer agrees to compensate the broker as stated in the compensation below. Trust me, when they understand that line, wherever they go, they're going to give your card out. Okay? That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And this 7 I thought was interesting. I don't know if Damon had anything to do with this one. For best experience. What are we at a hotel? What are we doing here? Buyers encouraged to be accompanied by broker or buyer's broker first visit to the property and to conduct all negotiations for the property in good faith and exclusively through the broker. Buyer understands that signing more than one buyer's brokerage agreement, representation agreement for any overlapping period of time could expose buyer to liability for paying additional fees. And then I like this, and it goes to the next line. Buyer is not party to any active, exclusive buyer brokerage representative agreements. And then under that says, buyer is a party to insert number 12, 6. Hopefully it says 0, right? Is what my thought, right? You don't want to be involved with any of them. That's what I would think. Non-exclusive buyer brokerage agreements. You guys, we have had more buyers say, no, I've never signed anything, and the deal closes, and then we get 2 buyers brokerage agreements.
So what is
Right.
if they sign 2, 3 buyer brokerage agreements?
They're going to pay everybody that had a buyer's brokerage agreement with them. It is not a broker deal, okay? Let me rephrase this. It is a broker's deal, but it's you and the buyer have the issue, right? Because we've had that where they come and say, oh no, we want you to fight for us. I don't have a dog in the fight. You signed it with Susie. I'm on it, of course, but I'm going to give you the right to sue them for it. That's the difference of what's going on with this, you guys, is they're signing them and not knowing it. And that's where we got to make sure are you sure you didn't sign something like this, and show it to them. Oh, I didn't sign anything, then they did. Joshua.
It's a non-exclusive brokerage agreement. How is that different from the exclusive that this is?
That's a great question. I was going to pose that to Damon.
Thank you.
Yes.
So you guys, we do not have a non-exclusive buyer brokerage agreement at LBR. That doesn't mean that there's not some brokers or brokers out there that are going to have a non-exclusive buyer brokerage agreement. I think that's a very confusing thing for the public.
Very.
Because they don't know, and I actually pose that at LBR as well, like, so do we have a non-exclusive buyer? No, we don't. So.
Why would you put that in there?
Yeah, that's right.
They're not gonna
We don't know what it is.
They're not gonna know there's an exclusive, non-exclusive.
Yep.
So that's gonna be, who knows? I mean, buyer's gonna say, what the heck's a non-exclusive? Well, buyer's the one that, you can work with multiple brokers.
Right.
Well, I don't know.
Well, no, because the line above it says you're going to work exclusive with me.
Well, this is exclusive.
Yeah,
But you
but
might have signed one or multiple that are
That's right.
non-exclusive.
Yeah.
Did you make sure they're non-exclusive and just ask that to a consumer?
Fuck.
They're gonna, wait a minute. So I don't really, I can't say that I like that.
I got a sneaky feeling this is going to change. Just saying that. I didn't go to one of them fancy colleges, but I think that's going to be the case. I like this. Number 7 for best experience. Buyers and we already read that. I'm sorry, my bad. Collecting brokers free from the seller. Buyer may choose to negotiate the broker fee to be paid in whole or in part by the seller as a credit to the buyer at closing or the seller directly to the broker at closing. So we can give it to the buyer's aid, we can give it to the buyer, or we can give it to the broker. Okay, the compensation. Damon?
Yeah, so they either sell that, all that's saying is that the
Yes.
seller's gonna either pay concessions.
Yep, to the agent,
buyer,
I mean to the,
right, and then in
Yep.
return, buyer they've signed a buyer
Yep.
representation,
Yep.
agreement, they're gonna pay your commission, or the seller's gonna directly through the RPA, which it says on the bottom sentence there.
To us.
They're gonna pay you a commission directly. Okay?
Yes.
I would highly recommend when you guys go through section number 3, you immediately make it to section number 8 as quickly as possible.
Yeah,
Okay, because that's where that's where the credit.
Yep,
Hey,
yep.
I owe you 3%, no, let's go to section 8.
Yes.
I'm going to negotiate this.
Yes.
With the RPA and make sure that we're gonna do everything we can to get the seller
Yes.
to pay my commission. If they counter back, we're gonna sit back down and have a conversation.
yes. I mean, the biggest thing, guys, is we all got to work. What's going to happen if the buyer can't pay you, the seller isn't going to pay you? What do we do now?
Buyer, do you wanna buy this home? Do you wanna purchase this home?
Yeah,
All right, do you wanna go find another home where the seller's willing to pay a higher commission?
Yep.
That possibly is part of the conversation.
right. But no, I love this
You
home.
guys can
Susie's going to be
negotiate
here.
your commission down if you wanna give some of your commission up, that's not the goal. At the same time, you're gonna sit across from your buyer, and you're gonna make that decision. Hey guys, listen, I'll credit you 0.5%. You eat 0.5%. Let's get this done,
Right.
2.5%, and, we're on our way.
Right.
You
Or
guys-
whatever that
again,
looks
that's
like.
the word negotiation, right? You're gonna have to be sharp. You just
Yeah.
wanna make sure.
Yeah.
And then there's buyers that won't be able to. That's it.
That's right.
And so when your buyer says, only show me homes where they're offering compensation,
And they're not gonna know that.
Yeah, we're not gonna know that until we call them and talk to them. That's right.
I'm gonna bring you this form up.
That's exactly right.
What else we're gonna work on?
Status change report.
It's a status change report for MLS. This is not the one we're gonna use. I'm gonna give it to you.
Okay, hand it out to everybody, yeah. Thank you. Oh, okay, yeah, we were just talking about this earlier.
Okay,
Okay.
we're gonna work on that over
Okay.
the weekend, hopefully have one out.
Okay,
Second page.
all right,
Hopefully on
yeah.
Monday.
Oh, 2 pages, thank you.
You guys,
All right.
can I just tell you, Thursday, we have a board of directors meeting, which is tomorrow. Hopefully by Monday, all the new forms will be in transaction desk, okay?
Okay. And then we'll see what happens with the adjustments. All right, so we were on A, buyer chooses to negotiate flat fee and whole or part. Seller to credit, buyer closing made directly to the broker or to them. At buyer's instructions, broker will include either or both of these in buyer's offer to purchase the property. RPA, second page. And broker will help buyer negotiate these with seller. Broker will not retain any amount of any source that exceeds the amount agreed upon. There it is, right there. Okay, so you can only accept what you put on this form. So again, I think, whatever you want to put. Equal opportunity, I don't need to go into that one. Wire transfer, I don't need to go into that one. Number 11, this applies to Nevada law. Please don't say they do in California, Arizona, Hawaii, wherever the hell it's at. This is based purely on Nevada law. And then I kind of like this one as well. Authority and capacity buyer warrants that the buyer has legal capacity, full power, and authority to enter into this agreement and consummate this transaction contemplated here on buyer's own behalf or behalf of the buyer's party representative. All buyers executing this agreement are jointly and several liability for this performance of all its terms. Buyer's obligation to pay brokers binding upon buyer and buyer's heirs, administrators, executors, successors, and assignees. Additional terms. Damon, what would we put? Give me something we put in additional terms.
This young lady over here, she with the open door thing, she actually.
Did a good one.
Put a cap, right, so a minimum, I think, Berkshire Hathaway is doing that.
They have something, yeah, I know.
They're adding some language that says a minimum of, right, so I put 3% in the commission section, and, based on, I'm gonna do everything I can to get that commission from the seller doesn't pay it, the buyer's on the hook for a minimum of 2.5%.
Or whatever that is,
Right,
okay.
so you can do something like that. to
Start with the
ensure-
higher
That's
number-
kinda right.
start with the higher
Yeah,
number there, and
thanks.
get a lower number back.
So does that not leave that open-ended? Everything that you hear says this can't be open-ended, so I hear you can't do that. That's open-ended, you could take 2.5 up to 3, that's an open-ended comment.
No,
No, it's not open.
Yes, I say.
A minimum of, not in between, a minimum of 2.5%.
Okay.
Right,
Only
so.
if you
Remember, we can come down on commissions, but not back up.
So we're safe with the 3%,
Yes.
okay? If we wanna accept less than that, we can put a cap in there that the buyer would be responsible for, should the seller not pay the
Right.
full commission. Right, as long as it doesn't exceed the 3%.
Okay, do.
I have a question.
So, as a recap, real quick, we can get the buyer's commission money from, it sounds like lenders with it sounds like through the negotiation of the, concessions, and/or, I guess what's the other way we can get it?
As far as the.
Closing. Well, that's a
That's
seller
concession, that's
concession,
concession. When someone pays us the commission.
Right, you guys, there's gonna be a lot of moving parts, and like I said, whether the lenders help participate, I think it's gonna be incumbent on all of us to try to work together to make sure we can get this thing spinning. Lynn?
So how do you technically reduce the commission? If you say, if you say 3, and then you're saying you can easily reduce the commission, how is that done?
Because like she had in the other comments, additional comments, you could put buyer, broker, whatever you want to call it, is willing to accept a minimum of 2.5%. They offered 3, now we're gonna accept 2, and that way he doesn't have to pay it out of his own pocket. That's right. So that's what so you would put in there. And I know that, Damon,
No, see, then there's additional terms he just said.
Whatever you guys have in here, that would be where a change order
Right.
for using a modification would come into play.
Right.
To say broker's willing to accept 2%.
Right. I know, Damon.
Additional term, like minimum 2.5.
That's if you wanna put a cap, you don't have to, but you can.
Right.
You got 3 and 2.5 network.
Right.
Okay, good.
Like I said, and I know that Tim had some verbiage as well, that he had that, I thought he was gonna try to be here today, but he didn't. And I think he was gonna talk about the verbiage that he had. So I know Tim has some type of Berkshire Hathaway verbiage that he was talking about, please.
I'm just
kind of curious for buyers that the mom comes in town and she's looking at properties for a child, or a partner that's looking for properties, their partner is not there.
Right.
So are they gonna, or you're adding someone to a loan that never even saw the house. Yeah, I mean, those are particulars too.
Yeah.
Where, you know, we need to figure out how to address that.
Well, I mean, it says here that this contract is binding on everybody that would be in it, so it can get up to 4 people to sign it. So if it's the mom and the brother.
they're not there.
Yeah, but I DocuSign it, even, whatever.
What's the answer, folks?
DocuSign, have them on the Zoom, have that
Get
person
an admin.
sign and do it.
Have the person that's going to be buying the home sign the contract. Okay,
But sometimes you don't know.
Well, no, but you're
You know
gonna
what I mean?
wanna ask, I mean, that's the bottom line.
You're gonna have to know now.
Right, okay, we'll show you homes, let me send the contracts to the actual buyer to sign off on it. That's
So we
how
just have to be.
Do you mean the RPA or do you mean
Yeah, I
the
think so.
buyer BBA? Right.
This is gonna be before.
Say, who's signing? the
Right, well, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
I want to make sure we're doing that
Who's gonna be
first.
on the contract?
Right.
Are we adding any additional buyers?
Right. Well, I think, like you said, even if the mom's coming into town and she's looking and son's in California, I'm gonna email this him, and you sign it, you sign it, and I'm gonna keep them together, right?
The mother's gonna be on the contract as well, you probably pretty safe.
Right.
Her sign it.
Right, I'm just saying where
There's gonna be odd ducks like that, and I think you just have to use your best.
personal
Right.
representatives.
She's been trying to ask you a question for 5 minutes.
Okay, please.
I have a question. Once we have this sign, is it required in SkySolar? Because I know that the broker have to sign it.
Yeah.
Do we have to have it signed by the broker before we start showing houses?
Absolutely, because it's not fully executed. Well, you can email it to the broker, you can do it through DocuSign, you can send it to the compliance people. They can do that. You can also send it to us, like for me, send it to me personally, and through DocuSign, and I can sign it in 30 seconds. If you're emailing me, then I got to print it, and then I got to sign it.
Exactly.
So I would rather DocuSign. I think any of them would do the same thing. But yeah, you guys, just like the old broker's agreement, it's not a contract until it's been executed.
So let me go back on that.
Please.
Okay? You guys, you do not need to wait for the broker to sign this to go show homes.
Oh, I got it.
Upon you signing it and the client signing it,
We can.
you can go show homes. Now, is there an argument that it's valid?
Yes.
The goal would be the broker gets it signed as quickly as possible,
Right.
and the buyer has a valid contract. Now, there's a difference between valid and binding.
Yes.
Because we won't go down that path.
Yes.
Okay, but is it valid, so we do want our broker's signature as quickly as possible, but do not hesitate to go show.
Correct. Well, because it really says is as soon as practicable
Yeah.
is what it is.
Bottom line
I mean,
is-
but don't wait 3
You
weeks.
guys, we're an agency state, you guys are the agent for the broker. When you sign, it actually becomes binding. Okay,
Okay.
now valid, that's an LVR thing that I got, that was 2 years ago, I had that conversation
Yeah.
with them, okay?
Let's don't.
Because it contradicts a binding.
Absolutely.
Because of-
And there's a intent, right? Everybody signed it with the intent of doing it, so it should be,
Well, we're an
yeah.
agent for the broker.
Yes, yes.
Okay, that's
So the
bottom line.
question about the odd dogs that
Yes.
might pop up here and there.
Yes.
How would you handle the open house and BBRA?
You don't need to worry about a BBRA if somebody walks into an open house.
Well, it's funny though, they bring it up in here, they bring it up in there.
So you guys don't need a BBRA if a buyer walks into an open house, you're doing an open house, and a buyer walks in, you do not need a BBRA. If they say, hey, I wanna write an offer on this property, get duties owed, BBRA and all that.
Right, you do then. But if you're talking to them,
For everybody that walks through the
right.
door.
So be careful. Just be careful with that because you're thinking, hey, I don't need it, but if you're gonna do an offer, then you're gonna need the whole shooting match.
Just remember the word representation, folks, that's all, that's easy. Buyer walking into the prospect, when they want to move forward, they become a client, and you're representing.
Yep. Heidi. Okay. Last thing, because we're already late, and if you will, did everybody get this? Okay, it's highlighted. This is basically about the only change on the RPA. Is there anything else? That's it? See, that's the only thing that I would know of. Buyer's brokerage firm compensation at the close of escrow or the exchange of the property. Seller shall pay the buyer's brokerage firm whatever percentage of the gross sale of the property or flat fee upon the execution of the residential purchase agreement or substance counteroffers. Remember, if you write it in, they're going to counter you back. If they don't, then we agreed.
Yes.
Okay? This clause is no longer negotiable exclusive between the buyer and seller, and any modifications thereof must be ratified in writing by the buyer's broker. Okay? That's the only change on the RPA, guys. I actually kind of like that because I think, for the longest time we can't negotiate, we can't do counter offers with our commissions. Well, all that changed. And again, you guys, a lot of moving parts still. I think this thing's going to change in a month or less. Please.
On the buyer brokerage, firm compensation, is there nowhere on here for our compliance and our,
Yeah, it's on the first page. It's that third box.
okay, it's
Yes, on the third box on the first page, yes.
So we don't need it.
No, you're going to have this anyways, remember? And that's it right there.
And then one other thing, I was listening to what Damon had to say, and I appreciate all the input.
Yep.
But Carrie was at LBR yesterday right here, and she said they said something totally different, so I would like to hear
Right, please.
clarification.
Please. We got the man right there.
And Damon, you were saying that if someone walks in on an open house, that you would be okay without for the moment, but what were you just saying?
So their caveat on that is if you're holding an open house for a listing for a Realty One agent, you're okay because you're representing the seller. However, if you're holding an open house for a friend in another firm,
Okay.
you're there to get the buyer. So you're representing the buyer, not the seller at that point. At that point, to show that property, you needed to have a BBRA to let them walk the house.
Wow.
This is what you learned yesterday.
Sir?
They were saying yesterday.
I will tell you that I don't believe anything's in stone with that. I think you have people's opinions right now is what you're having. And that is a conversation if you're doing an open house for another brokerage.
Right.
However, what we have to remember is that we're not showing we're holding an open house.
Right.
The buyer, in other words, we're not inducing that buyer to go show them a home. They are walking
That's right.
the home
That's right.
we're holding open. That is a big factor in that. I think either way is that, hey buyer, I'm holding an open house, you're walking in, I'm not going to show, I'm not inducing you to go show a home. Now, we can get clarity around that. I love that, because.
Well, I agree with you 100%, but you could have said, when they walk in, hey, come here, grab a seat here, here's the duty zone, sign this. They're never going to do it. I think if they say, hey, I noticed there's an open house down the street, can you show it to me? Now we're in a whole different mess.
The reason I disagree with that is because.
I agree.
If Realty One Group's listed or not, if you're not the listing agent, you're showing them, even if you are the listing agent, and you're showing them that property, it's the same idea,
Yeah.
you're still showing them the home.
Yeah, you're not inducing them.
They're creating a little confusion with that, in my
I
opinion.
agree, I agree. I agree, Damon, 100%, please.
Good luck.
They may not have a buyer agreement with their friend agent and say, oh, I love this house, thank you. Go call up, hey, I found the house, I saw that, I really want to put an offer in, boom. Now all of a sudden you lost the buyer.
Well, if you can sit down with them right there at the open house, say, guys, I'd love to help you, I'd love to work with you and show you homes.
Right.
Here's my duties owed, don't forget about duties owed.
That's right, that's what it said.
Attention right now on this buyer broker's representation agreement.
Yeah. It said right there in it.
Absolutely, and that,
Yes.
so that is, with all of this, conversation about
Yes.
buyer brokerage, do not forget, we still are obligated by law.
The first form, the first one's duties owed.
So you can sit down, if you can, in that open house, say, hey guys, listen, I love to represent you, here's my duties owed, my buyer broker representation agreement, let's meet after, whatever that conversation is, absolutely.
Yes.
If you can do that.
I think it's going to be a difficult proposition when they're just walking in to see an open house, to sit them down and go over it, I think. Could be wrong, but I think if they want to put an offer in on it and they're not represented, then absolutely, right? But are you going to ask them, hey, did you sign one of these? No, I didn't sign anything. That's what you're going to get. Please. Please. Well, I would make them consistent. Because remember, you're trying to get the seller to ultimately pay it. And that's why I said you will accept 2% in the verbiage as well, or whatever. Right. Last, please.
A question regarding the listing agreement.
Yes.
So if I'm talking to my seller and says, yeah, I'll pay 2% to the buyer co-op.
Yep.
Where do you put it on here?
I was hoping to get here.
Yes.
If you don't mind.
No, please.
Yes, please.
This is important, folks.
Yes.
Very important, right? Because what you just said, we're not allowed to do. So this is the thing, we think that we're going to call listing agents now and ask what the co-op is. It's not gonna happen that way, folks. It's going to be, for the most part, put it on the offer, submit it, and we're gonna negotiate it. And the reason why is because there is no vehicle, and it cannot be done on that form, on the listing agreement. Do not write it in the additional terms that the seller is willing to offer a so-and-so co-op, because that is exactly what they want not to happen. DOJ does not want the seller offering any co-op. Now, as a listing agent, are you gonna meet with your seller and say, hey, to bring more buyers, whatever, most likely the buyer's agent's going to ask for a commission. It's done with the vehicle of an RPA now, right? Be prepared for, anywhere between 0 and 4%, something like that. Here's a net sheet with it built in at 3%, and we'll redo another net sheet based on the offer coming in after negotiations, but just be prepared for that, okay? You might be willing to offer a co-op right now. If you want me to share that with an agent, could you share it? You can, but this is the thing. You represent the seller. Why would you pay your seller to pay a co-op when it's going to be negotiated? You're misrepresenting your seller because you don't know what's going to be come over in the offer, and you don't know what the offer is going to look like. Your seller today says, yeah, I'll pay 3%. Offer comes over $20,000 below list price, and your seller says they're going to pay 3%. So you're not going to have a vehicle to put in writing and hold the seller accountable to it. That's very important for you guys to know. So be prepared that you're probably going to get a lot of, if you even get a hold of a listing agent, it might be, well, that's the reality though.
Oh, absolutely.
We're not always available, whether a buyer's agent or listing agent, but it might be, hey, submit your offer and we'll negotiate it, right? We'll present it to the seller and we'll see where the chips fall.
Wow.
So be prepared for that. The reason why that's important is because we're gonna meet with our buyers and this first started off having the conversation with our buyer. Do you wanna see homes that are not offering a co-op or that are offering a 3% co-op, a 2% co-op, a 1%? That conversation's not gonna happen like you guys think it's going to be, because you're not gonna know.
Right.
You're not gonna know what the co-op is, so you're gonna have to go show that home and then negotiate like heck.
Wow. And tell them you want 3% on the brokerage agreement.
Oh, for sure, yeah, I mean, don't discount your commission, let them negotiate.
When you start your RPA a little higher,
Yeah.
4%.
I heard some people say I'm gonna put 4% on my VPRA.
I'm gonna say there's a jug of milk at 2.5% in the refrigerator. A knitted pillow that says 2%.
Yeah, but guys, you just have to be.
No, I've heard.
And I know there's a lot of moving parts, and
Yeah.
I come to these meetings honestly to share,
Yeah.
because we're doing training for our teams
Yeah.
at Zoom and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
But it's I don't have all the answers, but I think any time we can get somebody in the room that has at least some different ways of looking at things,
Yeah.
it's important for all our
Yeah.
agents to have access to that, so
Absolutely.
I come to share and learn myself.
Yeah.
But I mean, I love to hear the questions.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
So question, if I already have a BBRs that are active, that's not expiring for another 6-8 months, when this comes out, do I have to have them new ones signed?
Yes. Yes, that one will be gone.
Which should be pretty easy.
Well, I mean, you guys, listen, I appreciate, first off, I appreciate everybody coming in. And I hope we helped. There's still a lot of moving parts. Let's give Damon a big hand for helping out. He's a great guy. Listen, honestly, you guys, that's the most knowledgeable guy right there. I trust him more than anybody down there at LVR. Okay, so he knows what he's talking about. And so we'll keep